Up next, we have iExec, the trust layer for AI and DePIN, securing the pipeline from data to monetization. So, Mark, you're up.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Nathan.
Yeah, nice
How you
to see
doing?
you.
Nice
Yeah,
to see
pretty
you.
good. Pretty good. Can't complain. Especially after hearing smart people and good builders that are really providing value to the ecosystem.
Yeah, I think it's pretty exciting. The AI Unbundled is just packed to the brim with incredible projects, and
Yeah.
I'm excited to talk about yours. It's funny when I heard the iExec name for the first time a while ago. The thing that first came into my mind was this anecdote um, that I'd read earlier in the year, and it was around agents, right?
Mhm.
And it was about how we may look at hiring people in the future, in particular, maybe executives, right?
Yeah.
And it was, if you look at hiring executives today, one of the things that you look for is like, who are the team they bring with them, right? Who is their network? Who are their core team that you might pull with that exec into your team, right? Their connections in their team are almost as valuable as the exec themselves. But this kind of AI commentator was suggesting that in the future, it won't be the team that comes with the exec, it'll be the agents, right? Which agents has this executive kind of trained and been using it and kind of like brought into their orbit in the way that makes them more effective as an executive or as a person in the business landscape. And I just remembered that quote when I was kind of thinking about iExec before. It's crazy how much the world is going to change.
Yeah, it was one of the good use case basically of the global exec infrastructure, and it was done by one of our builder, which is one of the first that were using exec properly into privacy, but also not just using privacy, but using valuable data and putting the global network around that. So yeah, and especially when we're talking about data, every good use case that use valuable data and start to protect and share with good people, it's absolutely super powerful. Yeah.
It is. It really is. Well, tell me, give the audience a little bit of an introduction to iExec. Help us understand what you guys are building.
Yeah. So we are a confidential computing infrastructure. So launched it back in 2017. So pretty OGs in the space. And so even long before even DePIN had a name and before AI went exponential, we were just building at the really beginning of Web3 basically as well. So we raised an ICO at the time, and after building all the tech since 2017, creating our ecosystem of builders, pushing our dev tools and pushing our use cases, and make it happen today thanks to joining the AI Unbundled Startup Alliance. So basically, our focus is on ownership, privacy, and monetization, as I mentioned before. And we provide the trust layer, so for both DePIN and AI, because they share a fundamental issue, which is the trust in the data, the trust in the model, and also the trust in the execution. So this is also where iExec comes in. We bring the trusted off-chain computing and the confidential data processing to Web3 application using TEAS, so Trusted Execution Environment. So we've already powering this space since a long time, as I mentioned before, and we are pushing a lot of TEAS task transaction per year, around 2 million, something like that. And I mentioned before, we have already our own ecosystem of builders into many vertical, because when we were talking about data, it could be vertical agnostic. We're not just talking about AI project, of course. And so, for example, last year we had around 60 active builders that were using our tech, and roughly 500,000 data sets secured by our builders, but also end user in different verticals. So yeah, basically iExec helps individuals and builders to protect, share, and monetize their digital assets.
I love it. I think there's going to be a huge amount of growth, in particular around the TEE ecosystem as more and more projects understand the importance, but also get familiar with the technology itself. I guess how do you see projects in maybe the Unbundled Alliance, AI Unbundled Alliance, kind of accessing that TE infrastructure? How does that work with you guys?
It's really funny because when we were talking about TEs 1 year ago, 2 years ago to builders, we absolutely at every call or every discussion need to explain what is TEs and why data, black box, and privacy matters for individuals and builders. But now, thanks to what the market have done in terms of global education, I think people know what is TEs and people know back the importance of owning their assets and data. So we went from very far to something that is mostly okay for now. So we are, so as mentioned before, in this space since a long time. So of course, with a huge focus on accelerating projects that wants to give back to their user the control of their assets and data. So we have different ways for that, and thanks to the joining the Alliance, we will connect TEs to real AI needs, of course. So, for example, for startups in the Alliance, that means enabling trust at every stage of their pipeline, from data to model training, inference, but also ultimately monetization, what I mentioned before. So you can give back the control of what you encrypt, who has access to this data, at what price, for how many time, and how is running the model inside, with very specification of iExec into the governance infrastructure, and who are the stakeholders, powers of the system. So the framework that we giving to the builders make this possible by securing every step of the AI lifecycle into TEs. So that's critical for sensitive workloads, of course, but also private datasets, fine-tuned LLMs or AI agents making real-world decision into application. And on top of that, so of course, they were enabling monetization for projects. We help also startups with our own ecosystem fund with dilutive and non-dilutive investments. We announced a few months ago first 1 million in custom fund, but we'll announce I think many others in the long term.
Congrats.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Thank you. But yeah, we've been here since a long time ago. So now our really focus is to help builders growth and give back to their audience and user the spirits of owning what you have, and especially not giving these revenues to another people that could generate revenues based on what you are and who you are.
That's it. I think maybe just quickly before we go, because this has been fantastic. I love this monetization focus, right? Because I feel that we can often get quite idealistic in crypto, and not kind of tie it back to what motivates less mission-focused people, right? And I think that monetization angle that you're tying into this, the ecosystem you're building at iExec is kind of fascinating, and really, really important. Do you want to maybe explain how maybe the average AI project, or what's a good example of how monetization could be accessed by a project that wants to kind of build in your ecosystem?
Yeah, sure. One of the important thing you mentioned, monetization, is something that really is a high focus of iExec since very long time, because when you're securing data, you don't need basically Web3 at 100%. You can use different solution. But when we are talking about how do I get back the control of my assets and grant the access of this asset and starting generate revenues on that, Web3 is very important in terms of decentralization and global stakeholders' participation into the network. So one of the good example could be linked to, for example, a DeFi application. one of the use case that I love with iExec, it's we are all using different AI agents that could manage that could be copilots for documents, that could be AI agent for managing DeFi strategy or investments. And for example, as a user, you can start to protect your trading behavior, for example. So based on what you've traded before, what you want to trade, what are your risk profile and everything, and start to create your protected data. And with these data sets, you could access to, for example, the model of a DeFi project that will send you confidential alerts based on what you like to trade and what you want to access in the market. For example, every trade and every decision could be executed securely into a TE model. And then based on the performance that as a trader have, which is fully encrypted and fully privacy, I can start generate my data sets and my training of the model which is in a TE to different traders in the market that wants to replicate my trades, but I don't want to disclose what I like, who I am, and where I'm generate revenues in the market. So this is one of the very easy example to find out, but one of the powerful as well in the market.
100%. That sounds incredibly exciting. A lot of really valuable data to be shared and monetized there. Well,
and
Nathan,
everyone has
thank you.
basically.
Yeah, everyone needs it. Yeah. But Nathan, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Thank you for being a part of AI Unbundled. I'm very excited for everything that iExec is able to offer the unbundled ecosystem as kind of OGs in the space, building since 2017, and kind of being so proficient with such kind of core innovative tech. It's really good to have you guys as a part of the Alliance. Thank you so much, Nathan.
Thank you, Mark.